Hello, beautiful humans, and welcome to Violet Pathways. a place where we play in the streams, the currents, and the pathways made available to us by the Christ consciousness evolution that's happening right now and the ascension energies that are all available to us right now. Welcome. Happy Monday.
Happy Tuesday.
I am Andy.
Jessica, and today is Tuesday.
Oh, right. Sorry. This is a Monday for us, but Tuesday, excuse me. Listen, we're ankle deep into the week, and we're about to get into a discussion about abundance, what separates us from our abundance. And Jessica is going to lead us through a Keys to Freedom clearing. And it's going to be a wonderful and amazing, expansive conversation. And we're looking forward to hearing what you guys have to say about that as well. Have what you guys want to share. You guys are as much a part of this conversation as we are. So thank you for joining us. Hi, Angel. Hi, Nada. Hi, Sumi. Hi, Patty. Hi, Tyler.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. So this week, instead of doing polarity clearings, we're going to work with some Reiki clearings. Keys to Freedom is this amazing deck that Samantha Redwolf created, and this is just energetic frequencies this week. For today, I want to be working on some stuck emotional energy, but this stuck emotional energy that we're going to be clearing today is going to be entangled with abundance. So where is it that these stuck emotional energies are keeping you from feeling your true frequency of abundance? And then when we're done with the clearing out, then I'm going to use her Positive Fox. I think it's called Positive Fox. That's what it's called. Her Positive Fox deck. And we're going to do a quick clearing, just kind of clearing out all those centers, our chakras, things like that, clearing out those energies that are no longer serving us and the energetic residue that's no longer serving us, so we can be more in the frequency of who we truly be. So let's start talking about abundance. What does abundance mean to you? Everyone talks about how they desire this abundance, but even for the two of us, on our journey towards abundance, in our beautiful experiment, we have also come across our own things that we've seen in abundance and the things that keep us from that abundance. So do you want to go into that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, for me, my introduction to abundance as a term was, hey, understand this term so that you could have money, right? And Jess and I have been talking a lot about the new paradigm of abundance and what that means. And I'm not going to go too much into that right now, but I will answer your question and say that for me, from my point of reference, and we're all quantum and come from different places, my experience or my polarities, my belief systems all came from a place of lack or feeling like I had to basically make myself miserable in order to, or really do something I don't want to do in order to receive, right? Or
But
that you have,
wouldn't you kind of like encumber that into the actual frequency of survival frequency
yes, yes,
versus living frequency?
because when it's fed to you, hey, listen, you ain't got this shit together, ain't nobody helping you out, you're gonna find your ass under the bridge, right? So then you start thinking you're trying to work from your place of reference to try and get to a better place, find stability, right? So then you end up giving your pound of flesh again and again and again into these systems, because what stands between me and abundance, it can be, or what stood between me and abundance has been a lot. You know what I mean? And then it's been this relationship that has sort of helped me understand, right? What that is, right? Asking questions into things, and our relationship really showed me what the frequency of abundance was. It showed me when you see a penny on the floor, not that you taught me this, but that you look at it and say, "Wow, I'm celebrating that the energy of money is speaking to me. The energy of abundance is speaking to me." When me and you are having a conversation and it feels like a conversation that is so rarely had, or expansions or levels to the conversation, that is when I truly feel abundant. And when I hear abundance and I think about how it actually feels, I feel gratitude. So for me,
But
abundance
is
and
that not
gratitude.
the key? But is that the not key component?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I have to say the first lesson that I taught you, if I were to like say I taught you any lesson, the first lesson I would feel that I taught you was gratitude.
Yeah.
I remember there was a time where I was thanking you
You
and you're
you had a brilliant way of dealing with it because you were always like, yeah, Andy, I know you're not fully defined in your ability to generate gratitude,
to
and that's
receive
okay.
this.
Yeah, yeah. And you'd be like, but I'm gonna give it anyway, or you'd be like, well, and then there were times where, um, you know, I wish I would have honestly I wish I would have counted the amount of readings I've done since I've begun this journey, as a healer and as a reader, but I've
Why?
only now become,
Why? Why? Where is the form and
yeah.
structure of needing to
There you
know the
go.
number where you
Well,
need to prove or improve anything? So to me, I'm going to say there's a lot of ego talking
yes,
because I
yeah,
feel that's ego, right?
okay.
Because in all reality, like you guys, do you care how many people he's like? Does it make any difference to you if he's helped
Right.
people
Well,
or
listen,
5,000 people?
you're
Does
a
that
hundred
really
percent right.
matter?
That and
Would,
that
would,
is
would that
totally ego.
would you knowing his number would have that more enticed you to getting a reading from him, or just feeling this connection that you feel with him was enough for you to be enticed, or did you have to read all his reviews before you booked? I mean, this is a
Maybe.
very good question.
Yeah.
So
Let's do
I'm
it.
not being sarcastic. These are good things, right? These are things that we think. Another thing that keeps us from abundance, right?
Yes.
You had your thought of, I wish I would have known how many numbers, how many people I have
Well,
assisted
it's
in
it's
his
funny
journey.
because in conversations with Jessica, there are so many times where, my
And this is how they
my
always go. I
entangle
cut
my
you
my
off and I'm like,
entanglement my
hold on a second.
entanglement does not know how to hide from you. You know what I mean? Or my wonky does not know how to hide from you. So all of a sudden I'm trying to illustrate a certain point, and then the wrong term comes out of me, and I'm like, a lot of times we just had a conversation where I was like, wait, oh, everything all that is, pull it back. That's not me,
But
right?
that's good. But do I give
Mm-hmm.
you, but here's the thing, okay? And it's not do I give you. Do you give yourself enough ease to feel where you are going into an auto reprogram thing about something because you're feeling something, right? And so you go into an auto reprogram where you're projecting your feelings onto others,
Yeah,
or do you feel yourself in that frequency and
yeah,
go, whoa, wait a minute, everything all that was white
there,
eraser board,
yes,
my
yeah,
bad. I don't choose that anymore.
yeah,
And it's not me correcting you. It's you catching yourself in the conversation of it, and then me laughing because I'm
and
like, good
that's
job, you caught yourself. Like,
and
good
that's so.
job, good
This is why
job.
I love flowing with you
And there
because,
again is the gratitude again,
yeah,
right?
yeah, it can always come back to gratitude, right?
It
And
always does. That's
and
the number one ingredient.
yeah, it's the number one balancer, right, for anything that
Because
you're
it's
doing.
gratitude for yourself.
Hmm.
It's not just the frequency of gratitude, right? Because
No, yeah,
gratitude is something that is very easy to give out, very, very easy to give out. But when it comes to actually receiving that gratitude, now you're talking about using some muscles, right?
yes,
Because I'm telling you, collectively, when we feel that gratitude come at us, we want to like shake it off and be like,
yeah.
nah, it's not mine.
I don't
If
deserve it.
I'm in the store and somebody's like, oh, you're so pretty, I'm like, dude, like this? Like, I didn't even put any effort in. Why? Why did I just take something that someone was trying to be kind and I just had to make it nasty? Because I couldn't receive it. I couldn't receive it in the genuine, loving, kind way that me in my natural form was attractive to this person. So I mean, it goes in so many different avenues of this. Gratitude for yourself is the number one thing that changes all of this. Because once you have gratitude, once you truly feel the gratitude for yourself, you're locked into your I am frequency.
Yes,
And once you're locked into your I am frequency, the fears dissipated, the anxieties dissipated, the
you're
anxiousness,
unsticky.
the I don't know, like even when we want to try to stay in I don't know, I am comes in and goes, yes, you do know. And you're
Yeah,
like, okay.
yeah.
Like, I'm all healthy. Thanks, everybody.
Well,
But, like, I'm all healthy. Why? Because I knew how to help myself. I
Yeah.
started drinking my juices. I started doing the things that I needed to do for my body's health, right?
Yes.
I stopped being lazy and not choosing what actually worked for me. Or I started choosing what worked for me instead of choosing what didn't. And again, that's gratitude for myself, gratitude for my temple, right? So this is not taking you off of what you were saying, but
No, no.
this is another
It's
round of
important, and this
gratitude.
is why I love the flow of our conversations, because this is the kind of relation, these are the kinds of frequency bound relationships, awareness relationships that allow us the allowance and ease to be able to see these things, question these things from a place of tenderness with oneself, which is what I'm
And
hearing when you say
empowerment.
that, and
And
empowerment.
empowerment. Because
And
I do not deserve the credit of you being who you be. I
yeah,
don't. Did I have some assistance in it? Yeah, sure.
yeah,
But you assist me too. So there's no wonky in that, right?
yeah,
Gratitude given back.
yeah,
Okay. But truth is, my assistance, you could have said, ha ha ha, and let go out your ear and
yeah,
never did anything with it. So, in all reality, this is what we all have to remember. We are the only ones making the choices.
yes.
I know at other times it feels like everyone else is pushing
Like you
on
say all
you.
the time, you can show the key, but I cannot pick it up and open the door for you. That goes against every law of empowerment and
It's not
divine
I am
sovereignty.
frequency. Yep, it's
Hmm.
not I am frequency.
and
That
and
is
I want to, what I was going to say before, and I'm so happy, I'm
sorry.
really honestly so happy that you pointed it out. But what I was going to say before, it was almost like I felt like I had to preface it with a proving myself in order for it to have weight, and it already has weight. And what I was going to say was that it took me a really long time to be able to walk away from a reading not beating myself up, not saying I could have did this, I could have, sometimes it can be overwhelming when you're channeling so many different pathways to someone's higher timeline. And sometimes when you're being met with someone's resistance, that then when you get off the call and you feel like, man, I really wish I could have left this person in a much better place than they were off, but it was never meant for that. And so many of us as healers, those of you that resonate with us, so often when we come into these empowerments and the awarenesses, sometimes it can be a trap to want to immediately turn around and share that with those that are right next to you, then auto reinstalling and right. So in reference to what stands between us and abundance, I think it's routine, right? What are the
Gratitude. Well,
routines that ground
gratitude.
in, will stand
Gratitude
between,
is number one.
right? The lack of gratitude is
The
number one.
lack of gratitude, the lack of
Or the
self
hold on,
worth,
let's even put better word frequency to that. The lack of the lack of
lack
the
general.
the lack of the ability to generate gratitude, right? The lack of the ability to generate gratitude, because it's like a muscle, like Jessica said, right? And routine, I feel, is a huge thing that just downloaded or just popped into my head, because
Well,
sometimes when we're constantly doing the same things over and over again, we have these physical aspects of our life that lock us into that familiar frequency and pattern that
the
make it hard.
subconscious frequencies.
Yes. So,
So
like,
I
for
would say it would
example,
be like abandonment, agony,
mhm,
anger, betrayal, bitterness, blame, broken, confusion. It would be a lot of the stuck emotional energies that are right, because these cards were another thing about these frequencies is these were channeled over how to clear the collective frequency.
yeah,
How do we get off this energy that isn't ours? All of this energetic residue that we've been pulling through, all of these trophies that have been struggles that we've carried on, and we're like, but we're still carrying them because there are trophies and I've carried
mhm,
them this long, right? We're here to offer an energy where we can start transmuting this energy, where we can start bringing awareness, where you can feel like, hey, maybe that doesn't resonate, but that does, right? And in these clearings that we'll be doing, it's just these beautiful clearings where they come in and take all that energetic residue off. Again, this isn't really going to be so much of your personal energy. This is everyone else's, something else's. Like when we go through each other's auras, we're like constantly connecting
yeah,
and collecting collective energetic residue, and so, and this conversation is a part of just how you can converse in removing this, how even in these conversations that we do collectively want to like immediately give our power outside of us, we have to remember that that power belongs inside. And until we can remember how to fill our cup inside, how to first power wash it, clean it out, get all the gunk out, right? And then start refilling it, remembering in each step how empowered we truly be. Because I'm not who I am because of you. You've assisted me, but I'm not who I am because
Yeah.
of you. You know, and that was something I have to say for myself that I had to untangle from.
Mm.
Learning from all these different people, right? You
Hmm.
learn these valuable information and you kind of feel like a copywriter, you know, and it's understanding that's not the truth. You didn't understand exactly that lesson the way that they had it because you're meant to understand it the way it is for you to go out and add your energy to. And that's this again gratitude and self acceptance of who you truly be.
Well, I think when you said that, what I heard was gratitude of individuality. And I don't know, maybe this is something, and I don't know, maybe this is something you and I can explore later. But I'm seeing like a literal stairway, and every step is a piece of or a feeling frequency of gratitude. One being gratitude of your individuality, one being gratitude of your security, gratitude of the body, gratitude of the intellect, gratitude of everything that has to do with self first,
Yeah. But
and then
as you work through that, as you work in and like really each, as you're saying, each stair, stabilizing in that frequency, the abundance will find its way for you for each stair you stabilize that frequency in.
and learning how to stabilize it in experiences or in your passing through life. So when I even if I walk into a Walmart, it feels like there's like an energetic bubble, and what I'm stepping into is all the workers there and their invisible contracts about what the energy that will be held or the space that will be held for that environment. You know what I mean? So every time you guys go into work, you know what I mean? There is a conscious awareness that can be studied around the different spaces that you move through, because there's one element and layer of this when it comes to energetic clearing and being consciously aware of oneself, and then bringing yourself through spaces is the study, it's the homework, it's, oh wow, that was a lot of wonky, I just felt like. And even being able to, you know how long it took me to even be able to admit that the energy I was holding is not mine.
Oh
You know
yeah.
what I mean? Like probably like the first 5 months, 6 months that I was year, that I was like 9 months. 9 months. It's 9 months.
I think you just celebrated 2 weeks. Let's be honest.
Okay.
Just messing with you.
No, but maybe
But
probably.
there's a lot of resistance. And then here's the truth. Okay, there's a 10-year age gap between us. So, I mean, you have to understand this too. When you're getting advice from me, you're getting advice from a 40-year-old woman. You know, when you get advice from Andy, you're getting advice from a 29, almost 30-year-old man. Okay. And so our perceptions of life are a bit different.
Yeah.
I don't got time anymore to be laying around in other people's stuff. Okay, I've
Mhm.
done it for way too long. Like, if I've done anything in my life enough, it's been being lost in other people's energy. So
But
for me, like,
that right there is the beginning. That right there is when when I don't know what the quote is, and I can't remember it to save my life. But it's when you just get bored and monotonous with the way things are, that anything else will feel better, or anything, or not even that. That you are actively motivated to seek a higher space of consciousness, and then the pathway will.
I can agree with that though. To be honest with you, I got to a point where I was exhausted.
Well, that's what I mean. You
but
get to
but
a point
I,
where you're
I
done.
didn't. I wasn't looking for any high. I
No.
was looking to be done. Like,
Right.
and if it wasn't for how vain and the fact that I had a child and really what would that look like for her, like, I do not like. Please, if you ever have suicidal thoughts, please talk to somebody.
Yeah.
Most definitely talk to somebody outside of your family.
Yes.
Talk to somebody that can hear you and receive you, and that's what happened to me. I was at a point where I was just exhausted. It didn't seem to matter what I did. God was not my friend. Like, how was God my friend after all the misery I went through? Like, could he give me a damn break, please? Right? I was irritated with God. And then my gifts were not always great. Like, when I was younger, my gifts let me see one thing, and then it played out a whole nother way, like a couple
Yeah.
different times. And so I didn't trust my gifts anymore either. Like, I kind of thrown them to the side. I binded myself with some other stuff. Like, I don't want any part of it. This whole you're safe, like this was in my day of practicing of magic like this, okay? This kind of energetic work, it was magic. And two, the only way you couldn't be possessed is if your heart was right with God. Well, what the hell did that mean? I didn't understand what that meant. Like, and I never felt secure in my heart's right with God. Like, I knew I believed in God, but other than that, and I really had zero connection with Jesus Christ. For me, it was just finding a spiritual person who I felt heard me,
Mm-hmm.
who was doing one of these kind of services, and I felt she understood what I was in. And once I felt that understanding, then I was able to start to breathe.
Yes.
Breathing is what really made this difference, and breathing is what ended up making this spiritual connection happen. Because, to be honest, I did not have my idea of going on this was not to connect with God. It was
Mm-hmm.
to just breathe and not be an empath that took everything inside and got it all wonkied up inside of her, because that's what had happened. I could walk in a room and I would feel all the pains and injuries and
Yeah.
anxiety, and it would get locked inside of me, and I had zero clue on how to release that.
But you had an
Today,
awareness. But you had an awareness that it wasn't
no.
yours. Oh.
Yeah, I knew it wasn't mine, but I didn't know how to get rid of it. Today, I was in the grocery store, and I told you like this like 6 months ago that I had this awareness of when I walked into the coming from the survival frequency I came from. When I walk into a place, I look for the most sketchiest person.
Yeah.
I look for the
Me too.
situation that's going to go bad, right?
Yeah.
And then I focus my attention on that. Well, could there be some kind of correlation of how my life played out from that
Yeah.
frequency?
Yeah.
So I chose to change that, right? I chose to stop walking in that store and attacking attracting the negative and walking in that store and expanding my energy out, right? Being in my awareness of who I be, and allowance of allowing these people to who they were, and having tools of knowing how to release. So as it could be an awareness of like, whoa, everything all that was. And my daughter and I we'll walk by people in the grocery store and we'll look at each other and be like, whoa, everything all that was not ours, not
Yeah.
ours, not ours,
Yeah.
right? Today we were at the grocery store. We're standing in line. I could feel this really busy energy, so I like looked to like see what the heck was going on, because it caught my attention. And it was a lady with roses, and she's like, you could tell was that she was in a hurry. I knew what was going on with her. And so I have one person in front of me, and so I backed the cart out, and I'm like, if you want to go in front of me, you can. I'm not sure if it's going to be faster because we have self checkout, but if you want a lady, like, you can go in front of me. And she like kind of hesitated for a second, and then she's like, okay, okay. And I'm like, all right, let's just breathe for a
Yeah.
second, and she's like, I'm going to my daughter's graduation. And I held a moment of awareness for her. I'm like, okay, well, let's breathe, because it's 100 and oh my God degrees outside. Okay. And none of us do very well in Vegas when it becomes 100 and oh my God degrees outside.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody thinks it's bumper cars out there. So let's breathe, right? Let's get her into a calmer frequency before she has to move again. And
Mm-hmm.
then she's talking about her daughter's graduation and how much gratitude she has for her daughter. And then I'm going to correct, because then I'm like, well, make sure you hug yourself and give yourself some gratitude because you did something right. And she
Yeah.
stopped, and she was instantly getting ready to reject it, but then she heard what I said. I could see the like replay in her head, and she was like, you're right. And I'm like, yeah. She's like, I have two others too that already graduated, and two more. And I'm like, well, bless your soul, mama, you have 5 babies. Like, I
Yeah.
only did it once. Like, bless your soul. I'm gonna make sure you hug yourself. Like, good job. And then I heard her talk to like the two people in front of her, and she was talking about gratitude and sharing the gratitude and making, now all of a sudden the truckers are talking about it.
You were able to see that ripple unfold. And here's the thing.
And it was
There
just a
the
word,
only thing
gratitude.
the only thing more infectious than low vibrational energy is light
Yeah.
and gratitude and abundance, right?
But it's not
It's
being pushed. It's
right.
just being an allowance. Allowance of the other person to
You're
be
holding a
crappy if
space
they
for
want to
it.
be crappy, but
Yeah.
having this nice frequency of just letting them feel love and kind of compassion. So a lot of times that'll transcend that energy, and you're like, wow. But if you push on that, well, have a great day, like,
Yeah.
no, you just really trigger that person even more. Like, you just fed their lower frequency. Do we need to do that? Do you
Right.
need to flip somebody off when you're in the car?
Well,
And honestly, how many times when you flip someone off in the car are you like cut off two more times?
right. Mhm. Well, that's
Or
the
if you
thing.
just
It's
go like, oh, maybe it's a saving me from a car. That's what I do when I get cut off. I'm like, oh, maybe it's saving me from a car accident. And I'll
mhm.
breathe and I'll hold on a second. And I'm telling you, most of the time, like, I will miss a car accident because of that.
Yeah.
So some things, it's our perception. Sometimes we perceive things in a more me frequency, but that's just because we're looking for things outside of us to fulfill us.
Yeah. And we're also looking for instant gratification, and or we have expectations, and or we're just wonky, not aware of what it is that our needs are and not having them met, and then constantly being
How we communicate those to the universe.
hmm and I'll rephrase what I said before. I won't assume anything about the after point, but it gets to a point where you burn the rubber off your tires. You know what I mean? Like you said, you were just completely done. You could not. You just had no energy, no vitality, no anything, no soul flame at all
I couldn't live in that low frequency. It was
anymore.
destroying me. It was
Hmm.
just I lived in it for 5 years. I tried to roll over and play their stupid games like they did, and it just killed me medically. It medically took a toll on my body.
Yeah.
My teeth, they were creating these bacteria that were eating my teeth from the outside in. Like, it was killing me.
Yeah.
So it was whether or not I was going to physically kill myself or just allow this illness to keep killing myself. I was in a frequency that I couldn't do with anymore.
That's interesting.
And
I
now
think.
I don't feel that. I feel so light. I feel
Well,
so calm.
I think so many. It's just like what I'm getting is like the diet frequency. When we talk about what stands between you, we could say we could replace gratitude with weight loss, and I think a lot of the conversation would be the same.
It's diet versus lifestyle.
Right.
Are you here
That's
for
what it
a
is.
diet or are you here for a lifestyle? And that's where it becomes the difference.
Yes.
I'm not
Because if you're trying
dieting
to
on
incorporate,
spirituality.
if you're
My lifestyle is spirituality.
if you're trying to adjust or take in these concepts of abundance for the sake of getting that extra 20K for that car, this is why people lose faith in manifestation or even themselves, because they don't understand that
Because they go
it's
straight to the dollar amount. They're
and
not going to the frequency.
it starts with that seed. And that seed for me, for us, is this collaboration, is this friendship, is this space that we hold. That is the most, that is the path of least resistance seed for me to water in order for this
But
to
that seed couldn't even been anything if you didn't figure that out for yourself before.
absolutely,
You had to
absolutely.
figure that out before we interacted.
And I had to
Same
receive it.
like for me. I had to figure that out before we connected. And then once I was like getting clear and journaling and being clear with what it is that I was desiring, for spiritual companionship to move forward with this,
So
a
what I'm
couple
hearing,
months later, we ended up on a live together.
yeah, what I'm hearing is um, recognize your seeds. Recognize your seed. For Jessica, a seed of yours could be Leanne. Anything that you could feel a sense of gratitude or love for, something that is like, and you think about your future and how that is also going to reflect on your child.
I have to say though, these clearings are a part of offering the seed, because really the thing is how do you get to seeing what that seed is? You have to
Yes.
clear off other people's stuff.
Yeah, you're right.
Until you can clear off other people's stuff, you're not really feeling it, right? So the keys to freedom deck.
So one of these days, in the next couple days, we're gonna do a seed harvesting, abundant seed harvesting live, where we're able to recognize and source out what our seeds are. Okay, and I think that I just feel really strongly about that, because I feel like, looking at it, there's so many aspects of your life when we talk about flipping, switching, right? And that even sounds wonky in itself too. When we talk about maintaining a momentum of abundance in your life,
A lifestyle of
a
abundance.
lifestyle of abundance, and maintaining that, stabilizing that in your life throughout whatever it is that you're going through.
So first I would ask, like, what do you feel about the frequency? What do you feel when you say the word diet?
Mm-hmm.
How does it make you feel when you say the word lifestyle? And are you really, and this is something you have to get clear with yourself, are you ready to take this on as a lifestyle? Because
Mm-hmm.
the diet side of this, I mean, you can do it as a diet.
But what that does is that compounds your disbelief in yourself to be able to make a shift and a transition.
I don't know though. I heard everybody has a different calling. You know,
Mm-hmm.
truth is, at your age, I was what would have considered a diet of it.
Yeah.
Now, where I am today, I am most definitely a lifestyle. So who knows? I don't feel there's any right or wrong on it, but this
Yeah.
is something you need to be clear
I
with
see what you're saying.
yourself.
You're saying, depending on what people's life paths are, some of them may benefit from a less immersive awareness of all of this
We've
stuff.
already seen that in some of the
Yeah.
work we've done together. Some
Mm-hmm.
people are not meant to go through the whole journey at this time. Some people were just meant to feel the different energy, feel what it was like to have other people's energies taken off of them, and
Mm-hmm.
learn the tools on how to clear this off themselves.
Yeah.
Because these things that both of us assist with, we also teach so they can do
Yeah.
themselves. This isn't where you're supposed to come to me for the rest of your life. I mean, if
Right.
you get tangled in something, by all means, come to me. But this isn't supposed to be a weekly. Like, honestly, the people who have like completed a year mentorship, maybe I hear from them once a year, and that's just if they get entangled in something. So, I mean, it's all a different thing. Some people just come in for a month mentorship, or just book the 4 sessions because they get a little, or the mentorship because they get extra than just booking their 4 sessions. So, I mean, it's all in different frequencies. And I think that's it, though, too. Where is it that you're entangled in form and structure? And is it really serving you? Sometimes I say yes. Sometimes I'll be like, ooh, there's some form and structure there, but that's actually still serving me at this moment. So I'm going to hold on to that. Or sometimes I'm like, nah, everything all that is, that's not, what the hell? And I clear it out. Let's do a little quick thing on abundance, and then we'll get more into chit chatting and pull some cards. I just want to do this. I know we got
Please.
Wandy here.
Please
I know
do.
we got Wandy here. And to me,
Yeah.
like, having Wandy is super awesome. Anyone
If you're
else
still
that's
here,
here, like,
say hello.
thank you for showing up. But Miss Wandy, I definitely feel your frequency. So today we're just gonna breathe. Just take a deep breath in. And if this is something that you desire, you can just say, yes, I choose that. But if it's not, you don't have to say anything, and your energy won't be affected by it at all. So when I ask, is this something you desire, this clearing you desire? If it is, you can say yes to yourself. I personally don't need to know. Um, Whatever, whoever decides, the energy is here for it. Okay, so we're gonna be talking about abandonment. Abandonment. That was funny. And we're going to be using the stuck emotional energy that is entangled in abandonment. And I'm just going to say, why am I saying abandonment? Abundance.
Yeah.
Let's
I was like,
refix
did
that.
you pull an abandonment
Stuck
card?
emotional energy, and abundance. Okay, so abundance is the umbrella, and all these energies that we are bringing out are the strings that get entangled underneath the umbrella. Okay, so we're just going to untangle it and unwind it and release it. And I will be using the pendulum to clear it out. I'm not going to keep my arm up this high, so I'm going to come back down lower. But I will be using the pendulum to clear it out, and we're just going to move through the words. You're going to feel the energy if you choose yes, and we're just going to choose to release it. So here we go.
And it can also
Take
be helpful for you to take a have an audible exhale as Jesse's doing this, so that way you can feel yourself connecting into your body and feel yourself release it.
no. So we're going to take a deep breath in through our nose, hold it, and then and again in through your nose, hold it, and out. Last one, in through your nose, hold it, and out. Again, since we are in an ask and receive universe, we get to ask these questions. First, I'm going to connect in to God, source of love. Thank you, Source, for allowing us to connect in. I'm going to connect in to the archangels that desire to assist us in these clearings today. I'm going to connect in to star seeds that would like to participate in today's clearing. And now I'm going to connect into all of you that say, yes, I choose that. All of your higher selves that desire the clearing, I'm going to connect into you now. Okay. Everywhere that you have abandonment and you're stuck emotional energy in abundance, all the way down, all the way down, all the way out, and all the way up. Again, you don't have to do anything, just listening to my words will be enough. Everywhere that you have agony, all the way down, all the way out, and all the way up. Everywhere that you have anger, all the way down, all the way up, and all the way out. Everywhere that you feel the betrayal frequency, all the way down, all the way out, and all the way up. All the way you feel, everywhere you feel the bitterness frequency, all the way down, all the way out, and all the way up. And everywhere you feel the broken frequency, all the way down, all the way out, and all the way up. Everywhere you feel the confusion frequency, all the way down, all the way out, all the way up. Everywhere you feel the defeated frequency, all the way down, all the way up, all the way out. Everywhere you feel the depression frequency, all that heaviness, all the way down, all the way out, and all the way up. Everywhere you feel deprived, all the way down, all the way up, and all the way out. And everywhere you feel despair, all the way down, all the way up, and all the way out. And everywhere you feel desperation, all the way down, all the way out, all the way up. Everywhere you feel discouragement, all the way down, all the way up, all the way out. And everywhere you feel disgust, all the way down, all the way up, all the way out. Everywhere you feel doubt, all the way down, all the way out, and all the way up. Everywhere you feel excluded, all the way down, all the way up, all the way out. Everywhere you feel fear, all the way down, all the way out, and all the way up. Everywhere you feel failure, all the way down, all the way out, and all the way up. And everywhere you feel frustration, all the way down, all the way out, and all the way up. And everywhere that you feel fear of conflict, all the way down, all the way out, and all the way up. Just allowing these energies that have been entangled in the abundant frequency just to untangle and wind and release. Also, having awareness that all these frequencies are actually everyone else's energy that's been caught all over you, making it hard for you to see throughout your own perception of what is. And again, these clearings are really good to just clear out this energy and then, like, say the word abundance. Feel it. Does it feel different to you? Do you feel a different frequency? Is it something that you're like, I can't even make words of? Is it maybe something you don't feel at all? All of it is perfectly fine. None of it is wrong. Everything is the way it's supposed to be.
And I know sometimes you can feel overwhelmed with all the different aspects and elements of your life that you are wanting to evolve or that you are open to evolve. And all you have to do is hold space of being ready to receive what is new, whether that be generated through you or being offered to you through all you need to wait is for that next invitation, whether it coming from an internal place, an invitation to go work on this thing or to clear this or to do this meditation, or an invitation from outside of yourself to be invited into that abundant experience, whether it be somebody who you connect with and you're like, wow, like you make my heart sing in a new way. And it doesn't have to be romantic, it can be a friend way, right? You could find someone on YouTube or a book or something that there's always an invitation into expanding a momentum of abundance in whatever form you are ready to nourish in this now moment. And a light when Jessica says lifestyle change, it doesn't mean that your whole life has to be different tomorrow. It just means that you're acknowledging and you're holding space for you to rehabilitate the way that you interact with the world around you, rehabilitate the way that you receive and give, rehabilitate your boundaries, right? All of these things, they're all interconnected, but they're all different compartmentalized aspects of things that we desire. Abundance is something we all desire. We all desire a level of comfort. We all desire a level of feeling good about what it is that we have.
Love.
Love.
We all desire love. I'm going to disconnect out of all the people I was in. Thank you again for letting me connect into you guys energetically that way.
And thank you, Jessica, for doing that.
You're welcome. And this was abundance too. For you, it may feel that it was free. For me, I'm expending a lot of an energy. So sitting here and in these conversations with us is actually us offering energetic abundance to you.
Mm-hmm.
And you offering your frequency to us is an energetic exchange back. See how that's abundant in its own? It didn't have to cost you $1. It just cost you the energetic exchange of awareness that, hey, I was here, I received, thank you. And we're like, hey, I see you. I'm amazed you are receiving this, and I'm very grateful. And see, boom, there's a new form of abundance that gets to start growing and moving in a way that maybe you didn't see it as before. Right, you want to pull some cards?
Yes, I would love to.
Lighten the mood up a little?
Yeah, and just kind of expand upon this. And I'm sorry about all of the noises that you hear around me, but I'm in Flint right now.
I want to pull a starseed card for Wandy.
Hmm. For all of you, for the collective, we have the star.
Mm. And that's what this month is. Everything we've been thinking about for the last 6 months is really coming to manifestation time right now. You know, Andy and I have been dreaming about really what we wanted to do with this, but we knew we had to do more personal work. And now that we're here, we're watching it really unfold into more than we could have ever really truly held as an imagination.
We have the star card, and this is indicative of the energy of Aquarius, which is the age that we're in. Jessica said earlier, you know, who are we to determine how involved any individual needs to be in this new lifestyle? Who are we to determine that? That is true. But if you are drawn here, you, my darlings, are a major kink or cog in this major change, this, I don't even want to say machine, in this effortless, beautiful structure, this grid that we are grounding at this time. You don't need to understand all the principles. You don't need to understand everything at this moment. All you need to do is receive. Receive now in this moment, in the spirit of abundance. Receive that who you are and what you bring to this world is special. Feel that. Feel that. Who you are and what you bring to this world is special. And there's a funny thing that
And
happens.
even though you may feel it sounds the same as someone else's, it's not the same frequency. Okay? Understand that. We all bring these different frequencies to the table. Okay? A lot of people paint. I paint. What makes me different than another painter? The
Everything.
style, the frequency,
Literally everything.
you know? But that's the thing. So a lot of times we get into these comparison modes, right? And so I really feel in that to be aware. You can't
Well,
compare you to anybody. You're one of
because
a
God's
kind
light, listen, God's light doesn't hit the same on everybody, but we all are touched by the light.
because it's like snowflakes.
Yes.
There's not more than one.
And we are all living, you guys, we also say a lot. It's very empowering and helpful to receive the switch of understanding that it's not polarized, but it is quantum, meaning everybody is experiencing their own quantum reality as they walk through life. So even comparing yourselves to them is not apples to oranges. It's apples on the planet Earth versus bananas on the planet Neutron. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like whatever. It's not the same. So, even looking at somebody and saying, well, this works for them, and you know, that can only be helpful to a point. Or why is it that things are like this for this person, and when I try this happens, right? These are all limited, polarized beliefs that then. So we don't even need to go into that. What all you need to know is that the sun and God's light is hitting you different. It's gonna make you shine different. The sparkles that come off you, like in Twilight with the vampires, is gonna be different, right? You're gonna have a different aura. Everything about you is a fingerprint,
Yep.
right? Believe that, understand that, and know that you have a birthright too.
Yep. And they're waiting for you to see it.
I was talking to Jessica earlier, and what I was saying was like what I felt, and honestly, you gave me an opening to share this, and I never did, which was that one of the biggest things standing between any particular individual and the lifestyle of abundance is the feeling of separation between the divine,
Yeah.
right? All of these different programmed beliefs or belief systems that make you feel like, oh, I did this thing, or I didn't go to church on Sunday, or I did this, or I did that, and now I'm alone. I'm alone in this.
It's the program of everything is with outside of us.
Yes.
Truth. Just don't be hard on yourself, okay?
Separation of
Because we
self.
all have this program. We really do. That everything that we need is outside of us, not within us. Truth is, once we start really understanding even God, our I am frequency, that's within us. It's not outside of us, right? So everything that we actually need and desire is within. And when we like even match up with other people in the unconscious frequency, we only really stay with them until we start to build up that muscle that they, a lot of times unconsciously we end up in relationships with people who you feel like you couldn't do that, so if it wasn't for this person you wouldn't be able to do that.
Right.
And instead of really seeing your own strength, and then throughout the relationship you start to realize like, why did I always give him power for that when I could do that myself, right? And then you take back your strength, and then you're like not really happy in that relationship anymore. Is it because anybody did anything wrong? Mostly no. You know, a lot of times it's just because that muscle that you were saying that you didn't want to work out, you ended up working out anyways.
Yeah, and isn't it so amazing when that happens too?
So true.
Because
But
it's
you're
like, damn,
mad
like
though,
I didn't
and then
even
you're hurt,
realize
and
that I
then
was
you like
developing this throughout all
damage
of this
another,
wantonness.
because you end up damaging another part. You end up in this wonky, right? And if we can start seeing that like most of the relationships that we've been in were relationships that we thought we didn't have within, instead of like being in this beautiful I am frequency of who we are and like radiating our light out to allow others to match into that, we're just letting them match into our lack. And that
And
kind of makes this big change.
and one thing, I'm going to be a little vulnerable in sharing, because all of you guys know I'm very open, especially if you're watching my YouTube vlogs. I'm very open about my path to abundance and my jumping into this experience, right? And I will say that there's been a long period of my life where I was very frustrated, or a long period of my journey as a healer where I was frustrated, feeling like, why can't I match these goals? Why am I not manifesting these things? And the truth was that I had a foot in both experiences. I still had a grounding in the old structures that were keeping those programs and auto installs running, right? And for me, it was distortion around sex, body image, self worth, right? And then there were all of these what I would call grounding aspects of my life that keep them in play, right? Where am I still trying to prove to Adam and Steve that what who I am and what I do is valuable, right? Where am I trying to prove to Adam and Steve that me as a spiritual being am a worthwhile person to have any kind of intimate reaction or reality with? And because of my trauma, and I'm being vulnerable with you guys, I'm being honest. Because of my trauma, it was always wanting to be sourced. When I was in college, it was the theater professor, the older gay theater professor who was there, right? It was his validation and his worthiness that I was sourcing it from. Then it was throughout the readings, right? It was in the readings, and when all of the feminines are coming to me to source their value from me, which I'm realizing now, right? Then when I'm empty, where do I go? Then I go seeking it somewhere else, right? Where it's not being offered, till finally realize, like, okay, hold on. You're telling me that this whole time I was able to cultivate it from within, and all I have to do is trust myself enough to take a foot out of this paradigm and put it back in here, or even a couple toes at first. You don't even got to get that whole foot up in there. Just get that one or two toes up in there
Yeah, I
and
know.
shift that majority of weight onto that one side. You know,
And it's having patience. And it's understanding each one of us are on our own journey. You know, there were times where I wanted to like push you, but
yeah.
really would that have served you? No. And would it have served me? Because it taught me allowance and ease. It taught me to stay in the ease of who I be. Keep my frequency stable as what it is and know that. And even though you're someone who I do admire, I do enjoy conversations, and most of the time I do go along with what you're saying, right? I still was in this wonky fear conflict. I still am
Yeah.
working through this wonky fear conflict. I
Really?
hate conflict.
Listen, my favorite conversations with you are when you don't go along with what I'm saying, or not
Yeah,
that.
but that took some time for me to get bold with myself. And
Yeah,
again, it made me realize where, like, listening, some of the lessons I had to repeat myself. And I was like,
it's where you doubt the unconditional nature of our love.
yeah, no,
Okay, it's where, or
no,
where you
it's an
would.
old program. It's a people pleaser thing.
Yeah.
It's a people pleaser thing. And honestly, when I confront, I go from like trying to be nice and like take all the guilt on and like just make the shit stop, right? And then if you won't let it go after I've already tried to absorb all the guilt in the room so we can just move on and you keep
Right.
pushing on me, then I turn into a dragon. So I don't really like the way I feel in those kind of intense, okay, truth, okay? I'm an emotional. So if you come at me and start talking circles, before I would like excuse on why I should be where I am. So I'm not getting entangled into your stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then I would realize I was so entangled in everything I was trying not to get entangled in. Then I get pissed. Then I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, you don't want to entangle me, you
Yeah.
know? And it's like my sacral is defined. So I'm a generator. I've got some freaking emotional powerhouse energy. Did I really understand how intimidating that was to someone else? No, I didn't, because it was mine. But I can tell you, when a defined ego comes at me and is trying to make me prove or improve something, this emotional will get really upset and make sure you understand what it feels like to be an emotional with this power. And you're going to feel
Yeah.
overwhelmed by the time we're
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
That was an unconscious thing, right? I didn't understand that was exactly what I was doing. Now that I see this, and when I like, that's why I say I hear myself give 3 excuses, I'm out of the
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah.
And I will straight say, I don't choose this anymore. I hear myself making excuses, and and I will,
Out of
everything
fair,
all that is,
out of fairness, I don't think we've ever gotten there in our conversations, or
no.
I don't think we've ever gotten there.
No,
But
because we don't hold the level of resistance. That's resistance. That's unconscious
yeah,
energy.
it's when you hit a
Even,
wall. It's when you hit a
listen,
wall.
even when you say things or I say things to you, right? That at first you feel that resistance in. We both are aware that that resistance just came in,
Yeah.
okay? But then we're also very aware of who it is that we're talking to.
Hmm.
And we know this person is not gaslighting us. To be
Hmm.
honest, most people did in this world. We know this person isn't trying to take our words and twist it in all kinds of something else than I ever said in a million years, right? We can actually go, wait, what? You're not agreeing with me? And you're like, nah, what the hell are you doing? And you're like,
Yeah.
what? And you're like, damn it. Why you always
Yeah.
gotta be right? I don't know. It's like you when you're always right. Why you always gotta be right? And it is, but again, that was not an overnight thing.
No.
There was times where you would bring things to me about my grandma and how I was making that happen in my grandma, and I'm like, no, it's not. I'm not doing it. It's all her. Well, guess what? I'm sorry to say, but it was me too. It was not
Yeah.
all her. She does play in it, okay? But I'm the one that feeds into it. I'm the one that knows that she's lost in her head with some MK Ultra training kind of
Well, we
nonsense in
tend
there.
to have the most resistance when it comes to the most empowered truths. And what I mean by that is
Yeah.
that when it comes to the most empowered truth, when it's like, Jess, all you got to do is just shimmy your shoulders a little bit and that shit is good. And you're like, no,
Nah,
because
man.
you're
Come
like,
on,
well,
nah, man.
because then that means that that means that I would have to then shimmy my shoulders, then experience what it is like to be without this, and then basically have to go against my ego
hmm
of all the stories I told about it, right? You
And
could
that's
come,
the thing is when I feel, see, for me with the human design knowledge, when I feel that I'm in one of my open centers, I know I'm amplifying something. So if I get in this prove or improve, that's not even my energy. I don't need to prove or improve anything to anybody, man. I'm open in my head. I'm open in my asana. I'm open in my freaking ego, and I don't know where I belong. I'm supposed to roam around this earth like a
Well, there were
freaking rock
times. There were
in my
times where,
open G center. Like,
but I
but
remember.
my
I remember.
emotions, my energy, my knowing when enough is enough, my throat chakra,
Yes.
those are mine. Those two, here's the thing though, by realizing what is mine, I have to also take validation and accountability for the emotional frequencies, the energetic frequencies that I put out to everyone else,
Yeah.
right? There was a time when people are like, please don't come around me unless you smoke pot. You just have too much energy inside of you. And
Yeah.
so I would feel all shamed and wrong. And then, whoa, these are people who didn't have a freaking sacral defined.
Well,
So
right.
when I came around them, they're all like, whoa, what the hell just happened? How did I
Yeah.
take 10 cups of
But they were.
caffeine and
But
I
there were
didn't drink
times.
coffee?
There were
It was
times early
unconscious
on
energy.
in our exchange, and yes, and I'm 100% on flow with you on this, and I even want to reflect back to a time earlier on in our process when you would be like, Andy, you really should get your birth time, like it's really helpful, and I'm like yeah, like I'm gonna do
So
my
now I was
best.
still in my thing of trying to push what I knew onto others. I don't
But that's
push
just a
anymore.
perfect example, because
Yeah.
it was like, because then I was like, because then I got wonky with her, and I was like, Jess, I just think that, like,
Human design
human.
isn't for me. I'm not getting the
Exactly,
call for
exactly.
it or anything like that. So I think that's really just something for you and your box. And I'm going to stay over here and
Yeah,
have fun with that. But sometimes you confuse me with all that, anyways. And I'm like, okay. Like,
yeah,
but human
and
design is still for me. I'm
yeah,
still going through the deconditioning process. I didn't throw it all the way out. There was a time too when you were like, "Oh no, no, it can't be that simple," and I'm like, "Okay, go the long way." Like, and
yeah,
now you're like, "Man," and I'm like, "Well,
yeah.
again, we can't. We have learned. Okay, the one thing we have learned done in our experiment is not to push nothing on anyone.
We don't
We're
play in
not
each other's
here to
resistance.
push.
We don't play in
No,
each other's resistance. We can be like, hey, do you see that resistance? And like usually we're both like, yeah, that's there. And we're like, all right, cool. Like, well then
but
we're
we also honor each other in the fact that we know that's a part of our journey that we have to clear out on our own, right?
yeah,
And so if I came in and just was like, well, here, look, just go here, 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 you're not going to build up. It comes right back to the Queen of Cups conversation about the guy in the rock. If I just showed you exactly how to get there and you just listened to me without going through your own, like, hypothesis and experiments and hypothesis and
you wouldn't have earned
experiments,
it.
you wouldn't have earned it. I wouldn't have earned it. It's the same guy with pushing the rock. He's pushing the rock, and he's like, "Dude,
Yes,
I
Sumi,
can't do it anymore."
absolutely. We learn at
And
our
then
own time.
God's like, "I never said you had to move the rock. I just
Yeah,
said you had to push on the rock." And now
right.
he's all swollen, toned, and God moves the rock, and he moves. So
Yeah,
where did we not hear the message correctly?
yeah, yeah. And it's funny because I think that when we're talking about resistance, we talk about the frequency of a word all the time, and even the frequency of resistance,
Can
right?
you guys? I want to ask a question though. I'm sure Samari and Sumi and Wandy are still here because they've been like our chicks through this process. Can you, Sumi and Wandy? I'm asking the two of you. Do you two feel a difference when it comes to words? Do you
Yes.
feel them differently now or no? I'm just curious. Like, we've
That's
been
a good
doing this
question.
for a week now and talking about feel. Okay, Samari says when we choose.
No, no, she's saying we learn at our own pace when we choose.
Wrong ones. Late to the comments.
Yeah, because I definitely like I feel an understanding. Like I could say, yo, Jess, that ass looks juicy, right? I know that that's all. You don't like me when I go sexual, but that's my
That's
real,
snarky.
right? And
Sometimes you're feeling a difference when a word comes up. You can feel like the energetic to it.
so
Am I
like
using the right English words for that?
I'm not trying to just use curse words, but you could like those of you guys that understand this kind of language, you'd be like, yo, that's my bitch, that's my ride or die, right? You hear that in songs, you hear that whatever. Then you could say, yo, you a bitch, right? Those are two completely different frequencies for that word, and sometimes we can really understand exactly and read between the lines a little more when we tune ourselves to focus on those things. And that is how, when Jessica and I are talking, we are able to really feel into
The
exactly what's
word.
happening. Exactly.
Because words are this, so they're saying yes. Okay, cool. Because really, that's what it is. A lot of times, like, it's our perception of things. So one word, text messages, to be honest, like, I hate text messages. If you're gonna send me a DM, like, I prefer you to, like, send me a little voice note so I can actually hear your
Me too.
voice, so that way I know what's going on. Because one, auto spell, like, I'm not always the best at putting words out there, and two, like, you lose the frequency of it, because each word and the way you say that word, it comes to a point where you can really feel those frequencies. And before, you had the awareness of it, you just didn't give yourself the
It was
credit of
subconscious, yeah.
knowing that language, right?
And a lot of times there is this sensationalized sort of charge when it comes to anything metaphysical, right? There's this like, that's so Raven, like vision, like you know what I mean, or like whatever, like where we sort of fill in the blanks when it comes to understanding what intuition is. And a lot of times it truly is within. It's the same faculties that have been working. It's just understanding it, right? You can understand that you have this machine that you put the parts in one side and at the other side comes out a car, right? And you don't even realize that this is happening, but there is a process happening, and it's all about understanding and unpacking what those little connecting, what
Where
those
they put
pieces coming
plastic
together.
instead of metal.
Yeah, yeah,
Totally. I'm going to read this card for Wandy because
yeah.
I got it for her
Let's do
earlier. Can you see it? There we go. So pretty.
Fall into my arms.
Surrender, holding the opposites and extremes of life. And it looks like he's one of those, what do they call them? It's the cave in the water in
Oh, the
Mexico.
cave behind the water.
No, it's in Mexico. It's in the ground.
Oh, I don't know.
Um, I forget what they're called. They have a special name. The Great Mother Earth ushered you in when you took your first breath, and she'll be there when you draw your last. She knows how challenging life can be, that being human can be lonely and confusing, that the polarity and separation can be excruciating when your soul remembers the oneness of Source. But at the same time, it can be incredibly gloriously and sweet. So often we see things as either good or bad. When things go well, we make it mean that we're being rewarded. And when things are bad, then perhaps we've done something wrong. However, we are all here to expand and grow, and it's through the extremes of life that we do exactly that. You're being invited to welcome the highs and the lows of the human experience, to let them initiate you more fully into life, the agony and the ecstasy, the beauty and the bitterness. The life, this life is but a simple single breath in an existence of your experience as a soul. The Great Mother wants you to hand over your loneliness, worries, hurt, sorrow, fears, burdens, and doubt, to lay them on her altar, to fall fully into her arms, to remember that while these extremes are difficult, they are also magnificent. The more widely the pendulum of your life swings, the more truthfully you can say, I truly lived. And I
Mm,
think that's where you're needing for you right now is to sit in gratitude.
yeah.
Sit into gratitude where you are today, the journey that you've made it to today, and really celebrate yourself today. In the
There's so
next
many
couple of things, there's
resources.
so many things that are really going to be popping forward. Just give yourself the celebration of today.
Yeah. It's not always about where all of this is going to bring us, right? Sometimes it's about appreciating that we're already kind of there, right? It's the path. If you're on the path, then you're on the path, and then you're good, and you can feel that because there's awareness,
Yeah.
right? So there are resources for being able to hold a sense of gratitude. Go on YouTube and look up gratitude affirmation meditations, or what. I feel like that is going to help you, Wandy. And you are somebody who, when you get a suggestion, you at least try it, you run with it. So I'm excited to see how that turns out for you. Just the ability. When Jess says sit in gratitude, what I'm hearing as well is begin the journey of being more consciously aware of the
of who
gratitude
you
you
are
generate.
today, of
Mm-hmm.
who you are right now.
Yeah.
Not where you have to go, not where you're still working to, but who you are right this second. Because that is a big deal. And that is a big part of this journey is honoring who you are every moment, right? And then Sumi, I have one for you too, because you have been quite the participant, so I don't want to leave you behind. Your life is a canvas, artist, manifestation, creative, accountability. You're the artist of your life, and your life is a canvas. Take responsibility for your ability to create. Earth is known as a planet of manifestation. Your present moment is based on your past thoughts and beliefs. Your current thoughts determine your future. What kind of life do you want to create for the future? What are you being called to create? Reconnect with your manifesting power and align your thoughts, feelings, and action with the vibration that matches them. It's never too late to start, and no experience is required.
Mm.
All you need is an open heart and mind and consistent daily action.
Yes,
If you're not
consistency.
sure what you'd like to create, start instead with a feeling of deep gratitude for all that's good in your life now. State out loud what you're most thankful for. Look for the good in your life, and one thing will be certain: you'll find yourself attracting more and more good experiences into your world. This card is inviting you to see your entire life as a canvas, and the picture is completely up to you. Color it with your most thoughtful thoughts and feelings, creating the life that you most long to live. You may also be called to be more creative in your everyday life. What have you been called to create? How can you express yourself more creatively?
Yeah.
And that can just be, you with a pen or you with
It's the daily practice thing that's really ringing true for everyone. And a message that I received just now, it's not an unfamiliar message, but it's one Queen Cup once said that the devil will try to feed you a meal of uncooked food, while the divine is over here trying to feed you the
the
best meal of your
most,
life.
yep, the
But you
most
just have to wait.
delicious meal you've ever put in your mouth.
And what I'm getting is that anything that can really be sustained and be held, anything that can be built and kept, is a gradual thing, right? The divine loves a long journey when it comes to things, and it doesn't mean that your journey has to be long. The divine understands
The
the
human
value.
likes a long journey.
Thank you. Well, yeah, and
The
I think that,
divine is waiting for you to wake up at any moment,
yeah,
but the
yeah,
the human likes the longer journey. I can't throw the divine under the bus for that because
I appreciate that. Thank
they
you for
they wait
correcting
for
me.
us to wake the hell up.
Right. And but what I was gonna say was that there's a saying. It goes chop wood. I forget what it goes, but it's chop wood, whatever. It's chop wood something else, and it's about the little things that we do on a daily basis. When I talk about the
Chop wood doesn't chop itself.
chop wood doesn't chop itself, and in order for you to get that warmth, that heat, you have to go do the uncomfortable thing of going out, cutting up
Freezing your butt
wood,
off.
right? And part of that is not always comfortable, but the value that is received and then built over time when you are able to have a full stack of wood that will last you and your family throughout the winter. You
And
know
you
what I mean?
use the tools like your gloves and your sharp axe and your boots, so that way when you're out there doing the job, the conditions, the elements aren't destroying your human body, your human physical, right?
And how that translates is you're finding things that work for you. Maybe you realize that wearing all white and go and having a structure for yourself for 1 week to get you going in this momentum is good. Maybe you want to wake up in the morning and go for a walk because you know that when you walk in the new light of the sun of every day, there's some gratitude that you're able to tap into. You're just in a better mood. Maybe you know that when you eat these types of foods, this is how it makes you feel, and that's not something you choose to. These are choices, everyday choices that will bring you into awareness. Even just journaling,
Or maybe
having a
you just
meditation
turn the
practice.
music on and
Mm-hmm.
just let your body go.
Mm-hmm.
There's no dance move, nobody's
Oh,
recording
I've
you,
had the
just
most
move.
transformational spiritual experiences by dancing around my room buck ass naked, listening to some music and letting my divine feminine just fucking fly. And I'm telling you, that
And he
shit,
always has to be naked.
I was on fire. You know what I mean? I felt like I was in the music video. You know
But
what I'm
to be
saying?
honest, too, some of my most powerful Reiki sessions that I've had were actually in a form of dance. You know,
Yeah.
it was me pulling their frequency in front of me and clearing and dancing and really using the passion frequency and the movement of dance and the breath and the they're saying what is that word, like a rhythm frequency.
Yeah.
It just kind of gets you into that trance like
Mm-hmm.
frequency to really knock in to all of those different
And
energies.
don't be overwhelmed by all of these suggestions. It's
No,
just,
they're just
yeah,
suggestions.
what
We
works
don't. You
for
don't have to
you.
do all of them.
You don't have
Just
to do any of them.
any of
What works
them.
for you, right?
Yeah.
But Sumi and Wandy and any of you guys out there that are still listening or watching this on the replay,
Thank you.
challenge yourself to incorporate new daily practices that help bring momentum to the spiritual growth you've been experiencing.
And they can only last 30 seconds.
Yeah, it can
It
be for a
does
minute.
not have to be like some long extended time, right? Sometimes I catch myself and I'm just doing an I am. My name is, or I am, I know that I'm a bit irritated with something. I'll stop and just, I'm Jessica. And allow it to get to that. That's how I know I'm clear. I'm good. There's nothing blocking. I can't make that noise if I wanted to. It's just one of those. I'm in my I'm and I'm clear. Okay, boom. So that was too a way to just. It's learning to consistently tap into the I am frequency and
For
expanding,
me,
expanding, expanding.
meditation. It's journaling. For me, it's doing this work actually helps ground me in a lot to this. You know what I mean? But it's having conversations with people like you. With people like you, there is nobody else like you. Snowflake, right? With individuals, or with you, with just you, right?
I know
Connecting in with just
it's
Jessica.
not just me. It's with anybody. You connect, and we talked to Kamari, and Kamari, we need
Yes.
to bring her on here. She's our trio. It's talking to anyone who's in an aware state of mind. It's not fun talking to unconscious people. You
Maybe
become
you feel like you
aware.
want to make an altar, right? So that you could
Yeah.
feel reminded to your connection to the divine and give to that by replacing the glass of water and adding a new candle and doing this and doing that. That's a very easy introduction into this. But Sumi, it feels like and I am, me and Jess have connected to individuals like this, and this is not to bring fear or anything into it, just to help you understand where this can go when you are developing spiritually and you're bringing in all of this reception, and your masculine isn't grounding that in through daily practice. You end up being like a bag in the wind. You know what I mean? Energetically,
It's the up
spiritually.
and it's like you were saying, the 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
Yeah, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Yeah.
Because that's
I
what
did
it
that
makes you
right.
feel like. And that's why it says bag in the wind. Because you're like, what the, where, huh?
Where am I? Who am I? What is this? What is going on? You're just like, this feels good, and like spiritually, and oh my God, the divine. And and it's amazing because you can connect to those people and you can almost feel intoxicated by their fire, right? When it comes to that. But there is that earth element, that
There's an
ability.
empowerment. Truth
Mm-hmm.
is, when you talk to other aware people, right? Other conscious people, there's this like empowerment, like aha kind of thing where you get to see their
Yeah.
flame in their totality, who they be.
Well,
And
I'm talking about the opposite. I'm talking about that fire without that earth. That fire without that earth or that air or that water, right? That emotion, that
yeah,
balance,
you
that
have to ground. Yeah,
yeah.
you have to ground.
Yeah.
Grounding is just a part of it.
And what we were talking about, and what I picked up from just reading that card, was that daily thing that it was inviting in, that gratitude is part of that grounding. Replaced my candle and water, smoked the home, and sage after. Yay, boo! That's what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. Congratulations, Wani.
Yeah.
It's so cool to see you play in your
And doing those things, and really that exercise is an exercise of empowerment.
Mhm. And
Empowering
who
your
are
I
we
am
empower? And
frequency to
who
expand
exactly?
out.
I was just gonna say, what are we empowering? And who are we empowering? We're empowering our I am frequency,
Yeah.
because it is the separation of it all that makes it all overwhelming. Okay, when really we all swimming over here in the good, what you call it, Jess? The good current, tide,
The tide.
the tide.
The
The
living
4D
tide.
energy feels like high without drugs. So nailed it, Andy. Exactly, and we need to be able to match that high with the grounding. And when the frequency of the word grounding means a whole lot of other things. People just see bare feet in the ground. What we're talking about is grounding you to your anchoring, let's say anchoring you to your I am truth and your I am frequency. Everything that is within your I
Connecting your I am frequency to Mother Gaia. It's
to
really, it's
Mother
really,
Gaia.
it's really connecting your I am frequency to Mother Gaia.
Well, Mother Gaia gives you half of that I am frequency because of where we are native. And
Yeah, but
it's the
it, but
same way,
it's
the
the
same way our
connection.
moms and dads, you know?
But remember, I told you the other day, maybe this is why too. I was feeling the like from like the heart space down was Mother
Is God.
Gaia, and then throat up was
Yeah.
Soul Star, right?
Yeah.
And so it's this combining of the frequencies, and that's where you get to expand it out. But if you don't, then you're either all the way here or you're all the way there, and it's finding that balance, and in
That's so
finding that
interesting.
balance is
Because when you're all the
expanding it
way
out.
here, then you're all the way stuck in the programming of the collective. When you're
Hmm.
all the way here, you're
Yeah,
just stuck in the programming of the collective. When you're all the way here,
you're just with
you're
your
in La La
guides.
Land and you can't bring
Well, you're
anything
just,
down.
it's not really La La Land. It's you're in your universe with your
Well, it's
guides,
it's
and
La La Land
it
because you're
can.
not able to ground that into your to change your life. Right? People who do drugs, think about that. People who experiment with LSD and ayahuasca and all these other things because they feel like that is a pathway and the only pathway to connect in, and then they end up opening their third eye, and then they end up going in, to a psychic break, right?
I can't speak into that. I really have no knowledge on that myself, so I can speculate. But in all reality, like, yeah,
it's
I
just it's
really,
just fun when me and you get into these like understandings of things, because it really is the heart down and the heart up, and
yeah.
those are two different pieces to the I am connection, right?
Well, it's learning, it's connecting those and then expanding them out,
Yeah.
right? So expanding it out into your energy of who you be. And again,
It's connecting them,
this is
and
getting a bit
I know, I
advanced
know, I
now.
know, but I'm a nerd.
But we're going a
Connecting,
little farther.
I'm a nerd. Connecting them and harmonizing them with our energetic body.
Connecting them and expanding them out.
Hmm. And then harmonizing them.
Well, they get harmonized when you connect.
Yeah. Okay. So that goes without saying. Okay.
And if one is starting to disconnect, like, okay, like you.
We
When
love you
we're-
guys. You
when
face
we,
is frozen in this face.
my face is frozen. Now your face is frozen. Ha ha ha. I don't know whose face is frozen, but I hope it's his because it looks better than mine.
There we go.
See,
Well,
instant manifestation right there.
yeah. I love to hear you both talk. Thank you.
I don't even
And
know what it's talking about now with his
we'll
face
be
frozen.
here
So
all week. We love you guys, and we leave you in your divine light of the divine creator. Thank you for choosing Violet Pathways. You may
wait,
now move about the cabin.
no, you cannot move about the cabin yet. Remember this, okay? Leave whatever didn't resonate, okay? If it didn't resonate and just brought you up more questions and you're like, I feel heavy, leave it. Don't, it's not meant to pick it up yet, okay? If it did resonate, if something like made you feel lighter, there's many different abilities for you to do to go and find other things to expand it. You can reach out to us, like your choice. We're not pushing. We're just here to make sure that we open up this conversation so we can just start allowing naturally these informations to start just shifting and going wherever it is that you desire. Okay. This is our experiment. These are the notes that we've taken on our scientific experiment on this. Again, there's no like 100% signed off by different scientists. This is just ours, okay?
And
So,
everything is quantum.
yep.
Okay, so
Work
there's
on your own.
right.
Make your own experiment and allow us to see you as you journey in your experiment. And on that note, I am complete.
Yes. So now we actually leave you in your divine light of the divine creator. Thank you for choosing violet pathways. Thank you for flying at this altitude with us and being present. And now the seatbelt
Seatbelts are
light is
off.
off. So now you can move about the cabin. We love you guys. And that means you guys can go about your lives feeling lighter.
Namaste.
Boom. Listen, I'm not going to stop. You're just going to have to stop it.
I know,
Okay.
I'm going to end it. Bye, guys.